Some players played the game. Johnny Giles read it. He didn't run past defenders. He ran past their thoughts. Before they even moved, he'd already moved the ball. At Leeds, they had warriors. They had icons, but only one mind held it all together. Giles, the general, the compass, the calm between every storm. He didn't chase headlines. He chose angles. Passed where others panicked, dictated when others doubted. He built the rhythm. He controlled the chaos. He mastered the silence between passes. And yet, no statue, no chant, no roar of his name, but not here, not now. Because before they shouted Bremner, before they feared Leeds, they followed Giles. Subscribe if you believe the greatest minds in football shouldn't be remembered. Last, they should be remembered first. Johnny Giles was born on November 6, 1940, in the tight, cobbled streets of Ormond Square, Dublin. A working-class boy in a footballing family. His father, Christy Giles, had played for Bohemians. But the son had something rare, a vision that couldn't be taught. He played in alleyways, no coaches, no tactics, just rhythm and instinct. By 15, he was already different. Quick feet, faster thoughts, enough to catch the eyes of Manchester United scouts. He crossed the Irish Sea a teenager, chasing the impossible. And by February 21, 1959, he'd made his debut at Old Trafford against Tottenham Hotspur, just 18, under the legendary Matt Busby, barely a year after Munich. But Giles didn't shrink. He didn't wait. He commanded the game like he belonged. Short passes, sharp turns. A brain that worked like a clock the rest of the pitch couldn't keep up with. Even then, he wasn't just playing football, he was redesigning it. In 1963, Manchester United let him go. £33,000 to Leeds United. A fee so small, it didn't even make headlines. Some said he wasn't strong enough, not quick enough, not cut out for the top. But Don Revie saw something. Not noise, not flair, but clarity. At Leeds, Giles didn't just find a club, he found his mirror. A team that didn't care about sparkle-only control. He formed a midfield with Billy Bremner that changed English football. Bremner, the fire, Giles, the ice. They didn't just play together, they ran the match like a business. Efficient, cold, ruthless. One tackled, the other passed, one roared, the other whispered. But both won. Giles became the architect of Revie's Leeds. Every attack began at his feet. Every pause planned, every angle measured. In one clash against Manchester City, Giles didn't just pass, he predicted. A no-look ball slicing through two defenders set up a goal before the crowd could blink. It wasn't magic, it was memory. He'd already seen the move 2 plays ago. He wasn't loud, he was lethal. And the critics who said he wasn't enough never spoke again. Under Don Revie, Leeds didn't play to entertain, they played to control. And Johnny Giles was the nerve center. From 1963 to 1975, Leeds became a machine. And Giles was the circuit board. Everything ran through him. In the 1968 League Cup final, Giles didn't just score, he etched geometry into football. A low, curling strike from 25 yards kissed into the far corner like a whispered signature. Arsenal stunned. Elland Road frozen. Precision. A goal written with a compass, not a cannon. 1969. Leeds lift the First Division title. Giles misses just 2 matches. Assists everywhere, calm always. 1971. Giles scores 11 league goals. For a midfielder, that's dominance. But even then, he never played for stats. He played to win. 1972, they win the FA Cup. Giles pulling strings, running time, freezing chaos. In a 1972 clash with Southampton, Giles picked the ball deep, one glance, one touch, and split the defense with a diagonal 40-yard pass. One move, one goal, one genius unseen by 10 players around him. 1974. Another league title. Another campaign of control. Opponents didn't just lose to Leeds, they suffocated. Through it all, Giles stayed the same. Head up, feet quiet, mind sharp. He wasn't the loudest in the room, but he always knew where the room would move next. He made his debut for Ireland in 1959. Still, just 18, still figuring it out, but already looking like the only one who knew where the game was going. For years, He played for a national side that had no structure, no investment, no belief, but Giles kept showing up, kept organizing, kept caring. And then in 1973, he was handed the reins. Player-manager, the title said both, but he carried both roles like a soldier, never complaining, never cracking. In 1974, Ireland dismantled the Soviet Union 3-0. Giles wasn't just managing, he was composing. For 90 minutes, they played like giants, and he stood at the podium conducting belief. He demanded fitness, demanded pride, demanded that Ireland stop treating defeat like destiny. They didn't qualify, but they came close. And for the first time, Ireland looked like a team that could play modern football. They took points off big nations, they scored beautiful goals, and at the center, Giles. Still with that short stride, still with that vision, still doing everything 2 seconds sooner than anyone else. He stepped down in 1980, but what he started paved the road for all that came next. When his time at Leeds ended in 1975, Giles wasn't done. He simply took his vision elsewhere, to West Brom, to Shamrock Rovers, to Philadelphia. And wherever he went, the tempo followed. His boots were quiet, but they never stopped moving until he retired in 1983. His story, complete. His rhythm, still echoing. Jack Charlton's side. Euro 88, Italia 90. None of that begins if Johnny Giles doesn't show Ireland how to think like winners. His blueprint outlived his first tenure. Charlton inherited belief, but Giles drew the map. Giles didn't shout, he orchestrated. And in 1982, he returned once more, no longer in boots, but in belief. From the touchline, he still saw everything 2 passes ahead. He didn't dive into tackles. He dissolved danger with a pass. In a game obsessed with noise, Giles mastered the art of silence. Short, simple, devastating. Bobby Charlton once said, Johnny Giles had everything: great skill, a wonderful brain, and total control of a match. George Best once called him the best passer of a ball I've ever seen. High praise from a man who'd seen everything. Don Revie built around him. Bremner trusted him. Opponents feared him, not for brute strength, but for the one thing they couldn't prepare for: a football mind faster than their feet. Don Revie once said, he was the brain of my Leeds team, the one I trusted above all. He didn't chase stats, he chased control. He didn't play to impress, he played to win. And wherever he played, whether Leeds or Ireland, his presence was the same: calm, deadly, absolute. Some legends light the sky. Giles was the kind who rewrote the stars, then stepped away before anyone noticed. When the boots came off, Giles didn't disappear. He just swapped the pitch for the pen, and later, the mic. He wrote columns clean, clear, brutal, just like he played. From the 1980s onward, Giles became a voice of reason on RTA, never shouting, always seeing. No hype, no clickbait, just football, as it was and as it should be. After the final whistle, his voice remained. As a pundit for decades, he dissected the game with the same precision he once passed with. On the RTE panel, alongside Dunphy and Brady, Johnny Giles didn't raise his voice. He raised the standard. And on television, he became the conscience of Irish football. Alongside Eamon Dunphy and Liam Brady, he formed the holy trinity of Irish punditry. They didn't care about scripts, they cared about standards. If a player was lazy, he said it. If a manager was wrong, he proved it. And when the game lost its soul, Giles reminded it where to find it again. He never chased attention, but respect chased him. Because in a world of sound bites, Johnny Giles gave insight, and football at its core still listened. They'll tell you, Johnny Giles scored 115 goals in over 500 club appearances, played for Ireland 59 times, won 2 league titles, 1 FA Cup, 1 League Cup, and 2 Intercities Fairs Cups, 1968, 1971. But trophies weren't the only proof of what he gave. In 1998, he was named one of the Football League's 100 legends. In 2004, UEFA chose him as Ireland's Golden Player, their greatest of the past 50 years. In 2015, Dublin gave him the freedom of the city. And in 2020, the FAI welcomed him into their Hall of Fame. Quiet boots, eternal legacy. Good stats. Sure. But stats were never the point. What number captures a perfect first touch that kills the chaos of a pressing opponent? What metric measures a pass played 2 seconds earlier than anyone else thought possible? What algorithm knows how it felt when the ball rolled from Giles to Bremner and 50,000 people fell silent because they knew what came next? His genius wasn't always televised, it wasn't always tracked, but it was always there between the lines, in the rhythm, in the way time slowed when he had the ball. Today, football is obsessed with numbers, but Johnny Giles reminds us sometimes greatness can't be graphed. He wasn't the face on the posters, he was the heartbeat of the teams that won. He didn't need a chant, he had the respect of those who mattered most. He didn't play for the moment. He shaped eras and walked away before the applause started. No statue, no trending clip, no highlight reel on loop, just memory, just legacy, just football done right. Johnny Giles wasn't loud, but in every silent touch, he said everything. In every unseen pass, in every moment the game felt smarter than it was. Some players entertain, some players sell. Giles, he elevated. Subscribe if you believe that real greatness doesn't beg to be seen, it simply never leaves.